future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave.
From the beginning of time, men were watching the sky, waiting for the rain, hiding from the sun, imagining ancient gods descending from the clouds to bring us happiness and sorrow. But from the first part of the 20th century, we started to have different visions, not just in our imagination, but with the help of scientific laboratories and universities, visionary filmmakers. We started to see beyond the skies to visit other planets and possibly other life. And so, we were prepared to think about visitors from faraway places. The first scientific UFO research began. There are thousands of stories and documents involving UFO knowledge passed on to all major 20th century leaders dealing with national or global security. In this documentary, we will show you the entire known history of how the most powerful man in the world has dealt with the most highly classified secret of the last century. In short, this is the story of how world leaders from Gorbachev to President Clinton have dealt with the mystery of UFOs.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
What did Henry Tizard, one of Churchill's most trusted scientific advisors during World War II, and a key figure behind the development of radar, say to the Prime Minister, which shocked him to his core?
We're first in other areas of science, but in space, which is the new science, we're not first.
What was in a memorandum written by President Kennedy to the director of the CIA regarding classification review of all UFO intelligence files affecting national security?
If suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe.
What did President Reagan say after watching E.T. with Steven Spielberg at the White House? What did President Obama promise during his campaign about the government's secret knowledge about UFOs? Based only on official government documents, we will find out the answers. What were they told? How did they react? What steps were taken?
But there may be some career person sitting around somewhere hiding these dark secrets even from elected presidents. But if so, they successfully eluded me, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell you I did try to find out.
Interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air.
The December 7th, 1941, Japanese Imperial Army's raid on Pearl Harbor was one of the great defining moments in history. A single, carefully planned and well-executed stroke removed the United States Navy's battleship force as a possible threat to the Japanese Empire's southward expansion. America, unprepared and now considerably weakened, was abruptly brought into the Second World War as a full participant.
By naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. I ask that the Congress declare that since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan, a state of war.
Even after the conflict ended, the Pearl Harbor surprise helped shape a generation of national defense policy and was not forgotten by those who had lived through the war. For the first time in the 20th century, America began to understand its vulnerability to faraway enemies and to advanced technologies. Suspicion and preparation for a possible new attack has landed the first ever UFO report on the president's desk.
And now for news of our own West Coast, we take you to Los Angeles and the report of Byron Palmer. Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area.
On February 25, 1942, at 2:25 a.m., there was a sighting of an unidentified aircraft hovering over Los Angeles, California. An air raid alarm was put into effect, and the craft was fired upon. Believed to be a Japanese plane sent as a threat, since this was following the attack on Pearl Harbor. The aircraft was motionless for an hour, then made its way to Santa Monica and Long Beach before disappearing entirely. No further information is available about the sighting, although thousands of people saw the object. General George C. Marshall of the United States Army sent a memo to President Roosevelt describing the situation with as many as 15 crafts, probably over Los Angeles, and he explained that they had been fired at to no avail, and no bombs were dropped by the crafts. He concluded they were most likely commercial crafts sent by an enemy to arouse fear in people concerning the war that was imminent with Japan. President Roosevelt sent a memo to Secretary of War Harry Stimson in which he addressed the issue of who had authority to determine the status of an air raid, and in his opinion, only the officials of the related department should comment on such occurrences. He apparently had no intention of viewing the air raid as any type of extraterrestrial event and made the issue one of duties of position rather than what had actually happened the night of February 25, 1942. The post-Pearl Harbor Los Angeles was on the edge. A similar moment has been comically captured in Steven Spielberg's 1979 comedy called 1941. The film takes place in the opening days of World War II, as the fear of a foreign invasion sweeps the West Coast, and a real Japanese submarine finds itself somewhere off the California coast. Due to the war effort, and partially in response to this sighting, during the war, anti-aircraft weaponry continued to advance, including key defenses such as radar and greatly improved anti-aircraft artillery. Jet aircraft saw their first limited operational use during World War II. The war has ended in 3 years, but the UFO issue surfaced again.
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.